Alabama, and we are always asked the same two questions. The first one is, are those swords real? Well, most of you have had a chance to hold this sword. You can see that it is really a big piece of steel. It isn't very sharp. That's because we don't really want to kill each other.
Aww.
However, this melon is as hard to cut through as somebody's stomach is. You can see that even this dull sword goes right through without any difficulty. So, even though they aren't sharp, they are still fairly dangerous. Now, the second question we are frequently asked is, is that really how they used to sword fight? And the answer is no, because they used to kill each other. And we're going to do our absolute best to avoid that. However, starting about the year 1300, so about 700 years ago, they began writing down instruction books on how to sword fight. And we still have those books. They're being translated into English, or modern English in some cases. And we can read them and study them and do what they say, just avoid the messy, kill the other person at the end. So we're going to be showing you some of the sword fighting techniques from these manuals from about 400 different years worth of books. Now, am I doing it? You do it. The first one we're going to show you is for a combination of a sword and a small shield, known as sword and buckler. The small shield was called a buckler. Now this is my wife's favorite for 3 reasons. The first, it's the oldest book we have on how to sword fight. It's 700 years old. Second, instead of knights in armor fighting, it actually shows priests and monks fighting. We think it came from a cathedral school. And finally, the reason why my wife really loves it is written 700 years ago. It shows a woman hiking up her skirts, picking up a sword, and doing these techniques. So anyone who tells you women can't sword fight, they made it into the oldest instruction book we have on how to do it.
Huzzah!
So now we'll have some of those techniques from this oldest manual. And hopefully the
And she's going to start what's known as underarm, which is probably how they carry their swords. It's just under there, so she can immediately be ready and hide her intention from it. We're just going to do these techniques at speed, and you can see how this works. So what I did there, all I had to do was go in, suppress her blade, shield lock her, and come in. But can't stay in school because if you... Whoa!
Got it on tape.
Now she's going to use a casual tape. For the fur. Alright, the last one we can try to figure out right away. What's known as a grapple.
This is going to be fun.
I can pretty much shake her anywhere I want
Good
to.
thing you grabbed her or you might have blown away.
Yeah. Anyway, so we're going to do that one more time.
No, I don't have to put the hairpin. Oops.
Okay, that was also a grapple. What did she do there? She sacrificed her weapons, brought her hands through, grabbed my shoulders, and then she's supposed to kick me in the middle of the back. I can't remember too much of that. We have other fight performances to do today, so that's where we're going to leave.
Actually, I think it's more the wind was blowing you away. Alright, that's from the 1300s. The next technique we're going to show you is from the 1400s, and it was written for curved one-handed swords.
The melon has
These are actually the wrong swords. These are from the 1800s, not the 1400s, but we broke the other ones. So, it was a good show, though.
Those are the ones
So we're
that have
going to
to eat
use
stuff.
these, and we're still going to show you the techniques from Germany in the 1400s. Yep. This time I'll I'll do it right. Get back there. It's the wind. It's the wind, I tell you. You lost your hats.
Huzzah!
We should turn for this.
Should turn for this.
They'll want to see your smiling face. Hi, what's going to happen? Alright. It says, my arm. To get your opponent in an arm lock. It also says, if you have two friends in the crowd with a big bag, you can throw them into it.
Or a cloak.
Yeah, but that's too nice today.
I want a do-over.
You want a do-over?
Yeah.
Alright, we'll give you a do-over. I gotta warn you, this particular technique we just researched, and we've never done it in a show before.
Huzzah!
Alright. First time anywhere.
He's very excited.
It does say knock the opponent's sword aside and grab his unmentionables. That's actually what it says in the manual from several hundred years ago. So press his blow, grab his hand, grab his unmentionables. We're not going to do that in very many shows, but what the heck, it's raining and windy and you guys sat through it, so.
Not raining anymore.
Alright, now the next sword we're going to show you was a very knightly weapon. I've already got one out here. Good to know, I think the tornado carried it here. It is known as a long sword. You'll notice it has a longer blade. It also has a longer handle, which lets you hold it with two hands if you want, or just one. So if you're up on horseback, you can ride along going after all those people not lucky enough to be on horseback. But then if you get off, you can face the other knight with both hands and have a lot more power in it. But if you were facing someone in armor, you'd want to stand like this, and what you do is you'd aim for the chinks in the armor with your left hand and really power it home with your right. But we aren't wearing armor, so we're going to demonstrate some German longsword techniques from the 1500s. In 1314, this is 1500. Hey, watch out for that. Again? Now when I went to push him this time, I had his arms trapped and I went to push him, but I overcommitted and pushed too hard, so he could just move out of the way and then come down on my head. Once is sufficient. But that's because I overcommitted. If I was more careful, I wouldn't have the problem. So let's try it again. Yes. Good. Get out here.
See, he always keeps them.
Now if I don't overcommit, and I'm still up there when his sword comes down, I am very close to my hilt near his point. So I have a leverage advantage. I can flick him away and do a nice twisting attack to the back of his head. Works very well, very nice. Hard to stop. You want another chance? All right. I did.
And your sword. Very nice. Huzzah.
Because we are so close, much like the sword and buckler or the falchion that came before it, if you get too close, you can't reach out and grab the other person. That's a theme you see in sword fighting throughout the ages. All right. Rapier, that's your holding.
What about the black?
Now that was German sword fighting from 1570. In the same year, in Italy, they wrote a manual for this kind of sword, which is called a rapier. You'll notice it's much smaller, much more flexible. We're going to do some sequences from a sword master named de Grassi. Now Degrassi actually wrote 2 books. The first one was How to Win a Duel, and that move comes from that book. He also wrote a book on how to show off for a crowd. So guess what we're going to do now? We're going to show you one of his show-off moves. He said never do this in a fight or you'll die. But we'll try not to die.
Twice.
Now taking someone's sword is a great fancy maneuver, but if you're in a fight for your life, just kill them. Don't fool around. Alright, now we've done a variety of different sized swords. For the next one, we're going to do a tiny weapon and do the dagger. Alright, now the dagger was a weapon that everybody carried with them. So it wasn't a knight's weapon, it wasn't a priest's weapon. It was a weapon that anybody could use. And the shorter the weapon, the more grabbing other people there is. So you're going to see a lot of reaching out and grabbing people in these techniques. Also from Germany, also 1570s.
We started off with no weapons whatsoever.
And she's down.
Yay!
But now she's bad, so I'm going to pull out my weapon.
I'm pulling out mine.
Down again.
Ow.
To every weapons maneuver, there's a counter maneuver. I knew she was going to grab for my arm again, so instead I was able to pull my arm away, grab her, bring her over, and get her. Or not. Now if I continue to pull down, I snap her arm at her elbow, and I can beat her with it.
Arms don't bend that way.
Sure they do! Trust me!
Alright, so that was an example of some German dagger fighting. Now we're going to show you some Italian dagger fighting.
I like Italian. I land on the ground less.
You still got the hat. Oh. Huzzah.
Now, this maneuver is done by a gentleman named Fiore. He says if you're faster than your opponent, odds are you can win the fight.
That's good odds.
Yeah, it's really good odds.
Makes a lot of sense.
Uh-huh.
It's hard to know in front of time. Oh yeah, you got a bigger sword, la-di-da.
Bigger sword.
And a sheath.
That's
By using
cheating.
his sheath, he can pin my arm.
You should spin
Has
around.
enough time to pull out.
Spin around.
Give him a smug look.
If I was to do as the manual instructed, my dagger would be this way. So a small demonstration of how the dagger.
So that was some Italian weapons. We showed you the rapier earlier, the flexible sword. In England, there was a sword master known as George Silver who didn't like the flexible Italian weapon. He said because it's flexible, you never know where it's going to stop the other sword, and you'll probably die because of that. So we're now going to demonstrate the kind of sword he did like, which was a much stiffer blade. These are known as mortuary swords because the handguard looks like somebody's rib cage.
Yeah. Pleasant.
Now what you'll see is that I am normally in this ward, which is a position. Now you notice it's not what you normally see on movies, TV. Whenever you see a sword fight, they're always fighting like this. Silver says this is a better guard because, as you can see, I can block my body from any kind of attack.
You don't want to hear oops in a sword fight.
Yeah.
Now, we went over how this weapon was the English version to fight against a rapier. But this is the Italian version, okay? It's a lot bendier. And it's a lot longer. Out of the two of these, who do you think is going to win if both of these weapons come up against each other?
The better one.
This one or that one? This one?
Yeah, we like you better.
The bigger one.
Bah. Bah.
Okay.
The one, the one who has a dagger as well, let's do. Just the same dagger.
Because you have a longer length doesn't mean that you have a better chance of winning.
All right. The next one we're going to show you is this.
Those are
It
dangerous.
is a sickle used for farming, mowing lawns, denting melons, and other farming duties. However, in 1570, in Germany again,
Our rival farms had a problem.
a swordmaster named Paulus Hector Mayer wrote a manual on how to fight with it. So, as far as we know, we're the only group who has actually bothered to research what he wrote about this. We're the only silly ones.
What's if he like got a bone stick?
Ah!
Ooh.
Here's the rain.
I get hit in the head.
You'll notice, like the dagger, it's a small weapon, which means there's a lot of reaching out and grabbing people.
You're in the wrong sequence.
I am. Ow! The manual actually says he should skin my arm. It doesn't say anything about I should block that. But it does say hit him in the head. So apparently it's okay to walk around with your arm skinned if he has a sickle sticking out of his head.
Yeah,
Now,
you're right.
now I'm on that.
Yeah, it's raining again.
Now in that one, you'll notice he swings again towards my unmentionables, but this time I am allowed to block. So there are some things that even the Germans let you block, and apparently a sickle in your unmentionables is one of them. Now the last weapon we're going to show you on this rainy Saturday afternoon is the most dangerous ones, most dangerous
That's
one
your
we
job.
perform with. Now,
The coconut. Make it really loud, sneaky, sneaky.
modified it in any way. Get back here. He's worried because a couple of years ago we were
Grab the
doing
other
a
side
show
just so we
where
don't
these
touch.
weapons and one of them broke and went spinning towards the audience. And he bravely dove in front of it. So now
Aww.
he tries to hide whenever we take it out. But if you hear a cracking sound and see him running away, it's too late. Alright.
Move the umbrella down when they do that.
Alright.
It won't block much,
Good
but
check.
it'll block a little bit.
It's still a real coconut. Now the reason we do a very short sequence with this, coconuts are about as hard to crack as a person's head. And you can see that if I hit it, please replace all divots.
Whoa.
If you hit it, it does
Coconut pieces.
go through quite well.
Probably shouldn't have laughed so hard at that, huh?
One time we got a rotten one, it was terrible.
Rotten brains.
Surprising.
No running. So we're going to do a very short demonstration of this because they are terribly, terribly dangerous.
Huzzah! Huzzah! Oh, he looks sad.
But you can see, even with a 6-foot-long pointed stick with hooks, you can still reach out and grab someone, stab them, hammer them,
Colorful commercial when he says that.
trip them,
I think place it though.
or of course disarm them, but they saw that. Yep. Now the favorite trick in the French manual, Jeu de la Hache, for this weapon, it says to approach your opponent with a tail end, stab them in the foot, and then hammer them in the face. But we have yet to figure out a way to do that safely in a show. So all we do is talk about it.
I won't let you.
But that will conclude our show.
mostly.
Thank you very much for staying out in the rain for us. Enjoyed it. If you have any questions, by all means come see us because we love talking about it.
Indeed.
And at 5:30, assuming it isn't pouring rain by then, we'll be doing our fire show back right here. So hopefully come see us for that. Thank you very much.
Huzzah!